I think it is working.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Can you see me? Can you hear us? Or um, it says it's streaming into the group. I'm just gonna
Hmm.
and drop my phone. Just gonna double check in my phone. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had, or ladies, because we're into the ladies group, we have had a bit of a interesting time coming into this Wellness Wednesday. Um, and I just want to double check that we're in the group. Hopefully, we're in the group. If you're here, please say hi and let us know that we are live streaming into our Facebook group. Yes, Alison, you did it.
Yay!
I mean, technology, right? Tell you, as we know, last week with our guest, we found out when we went to go live that we couldn't stream into groups anymore because Facebook's changed all the interface. So I've spent a few hours trying to work out how we go from Zoom to Facebook group, our group here. So welcome, 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 everyone. We made it. We are a few minutes late, but we got there in the end. So I'm excited today for our Wellness Wednesday expert guest, who is Alison Zeidler, and all the way from Canada. And she'll be joining us to discuss her amazing abilities, all the things that she's been doing over the years to help people with many ailments, but particularly anxiety and overwhelm and all the things that we are experiencing. So she's a wealth of knowledge and the founder of Elemental Holistic Therapies. And I believe that was in 2009 you founded that.
Yes. Yeah.
And Alison offers, holistic wellness services to people and pets, which I was really excited about because I'm a big pet lover. And I think that's really important that, they're just as important as our children, our pets. So having the
Yes.
ability to help pets is really, I believe, really a powerful skill. And so your passion is to empower chronically stressed, anxious, overwhelmed women, very
Mhm.
similar to my own. And that's why we aligned and we
Yes.
connected because we're in pretty much, in the same realm and doing this similar work to help women to live a passionate and confident life. So she has this list of modalities under her belt, and one of them is, well, I'll name them actually. A certified quantum touch energy healing instructor, a licensed muscle tester, muscle tuner specialist, a touch for health instructor, math, heart math, which I've had a little bit of dealings with, but loving that. I'd love to hear more about that. You're a certified practitioner in that. You're also a registered reflexologist and therapist, an author, speaker, and you've developed a number of workshops over the years as well. So
Mhm.
I'm excited. You have so much knowledge and skill, and I'm sure you're going to be sharing some of your wisdom and some of those strategies that you use in practice to help women in our
Yes.
community here. So if you're watching, drop us a hello. We'd love to know. And also, if you have any questions along the way, Alison's part of our beautiful group, so she'll be able to pop back later and answer those. If we don't get time today. So without further ado, welcome, Alison, and hello, and all the things all the way. And thank you for making the time because I know it's in the evening over where you are, Yukon. So, yeah, I'd love to firstly find out a little bit how you fell into the work that you fell into. I love these stories. I always ask,
Yes.
it's always fascinating. So,
All
how,
right.
yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. And it always sounds really daunting when someone reads off, the modalities that we do and what we've done. And it's like, wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah.
But I always had fun along the way. So yes, I grew up in a alcoholic home. My
Mm.
mother married 5 times by the time I was 15.
Wow.
So it was a little chaotic, and she had a very strong personality, very strong will. And that's a good thing most of the time. But I grew up really angry and really not able to feel anything other than anger.
Yeah.
And I was shy. I didn't know there were feelings under the anger, and I couldn't express them because I didn't know they were there.
Yeah.
So I lived a pretty miserable life. And, and I also made people around me pretty miserable too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
And,
and
and
in
not through your own, intentions, I'm gathered.
yeah,
It's a lot, yeah, it's a lot, isn't
yeah,
it, when you don't
yeah,
understand what's going on deep beneath the surface. And yeah.
yes. And then I found out in my 30s all of the coping skills that we learn as kids growing up in dysfunctional homes. Those coping skills stopped working, and life really fell apart. And it was like I did all the things that you're supposed to do, right? I did cognitive behavior therapy and anger management classes and various other things, and they helped. For sure they helped.
Mm.
I started going to Al-Anon, which helped immensely. And then I started to realize that they still didn't go deep enough
Yeah.
because none of them were addressing the energetic aspects.
Mm.
And around the same time, I had some really failed relationships, and I kind of had to strike out on my own and start to figure out who I was.
Mm.
Who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I wanted, what I didn't want. And that was sort of when I started doing more. And I stumbled across a pet reflexology course that
Mm.
was being given down in British Columbia. And so I flew down and I took it, and that was kind of the start. I thought that was really cool. I looked into people reflexology and then energy healing and Reiki and right, a whole bunch of them. And so just over the years, it progressed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I opened my clinic, and I never stopped learning. I was and still am a little bit one of those people who doesn't think that they know enough
Yeah.
and need to know more. So I have like probably 70 certificates.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
70.
yeah, yeah.
Incredible. And
I
do you
kind of went
know,
overboard.
yeah, and that's interesting that, I had a similar thing running as well through my own past trauma, and that I wasn't good enough. I needed to learn more.
Mhm.
And when I realized that was a pattern, is when I went, you know what? How much more do I need to know before I can do what I need to do in the world? It's interesting, isn't it, how
Yeah.
these patterns can control us and thinking that we're not
Yes.
yet enough. And yeah, and for people that don't know what Ananon is, what could you just I just yeah.
So it's Al-Anon is the alcoholics of sorry, it's the friends and families
Yes.
of alcoholics.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's a volunteer support group. It's worldwide. There's AA, Alcoholics Anonymous for alcoholics, addicts.
Yeah.
And then Al-Anon is the group for those of us who live with them or grew up with them or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And I
So
know that's a
yeah.
simple question, but and I think that's great to have support systems like that. But like you said, it doesn't always address the root cause, and the energetics below the surface.
Yeah.
So I love that you did all that work, and then you went into animals first. Was that something that, yeah, that you were like, you really felt called to work with animals before people?
Yes, definitely. I wanted to be a veterinarian when I was young,
Mm.
and I volunteered at a children's zoo when I was a teenager and got to hand feed the fruit bat and get into the pen with the baby bears and feed them. And we had a beaver named Fudge who would come and sit on your lap. So animals have always been like huge in my life.
Yeah.
And I worked for a veterinarian for a number of years. And of course, I always like animals better than people. Didn't realize back then that you still have to deal with people,
People.
right?
So it didn't really go away. Oh my
No.
goodness. But it's
Yeah.
probably like working with animals is the same. Like it's a healing modality in itself, isn't it? Really, like people get companions when they're feeling anxious, and the animals help to calm them down. And the same with plants. My partner would rather talk to plants and talk to people. Like he's in the innate. That's his meditation, right?
Lovely.
So I get that, and I think it's sort of overlooked a little, that how healing that just being around nature and animals can be. And I love that you went down that path. And so yeah, tell me more about how you worked with the animals, and then we'll go into the humans.
Sounds good. Although I took the pet reflexology class and I've later developed my own course that I teach online,
Mhm.
I didn't do a lot of it with clients, right? It was more showing them what they could do with their own pets.
Ah.
But in and amongst learning about the reflexes and what they do, our instructor talked a lot about the energy and the meridians and how centered we have to be when
Mm.
we work with animals.
Mm.
And so all of that piqued my interest far more than, poking around on their hooves and paws, right?
Mm.
But it was sort of the gateway into the whole everything that I do. And now what I do, I have a lot of clients from the United States and like distance clients for animals.
Uh-huh.
And every client is different, just like with people.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're working with a physical ailment, sometimes it's more behavioral, sometimes it's pain related. Most of the time there's past trauma involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to believe that animals, well, they do take on some of our own crap, right? They also have their own stuff
Yeah.
and they have their own path in life. They're not here solely for us. So, in order for them to be whole and healthy, they need to deal and release their traumas also.
Yeah.
And that has a direct effect on their behavior.
Wow. That's powerful, really, isn't it? Because we never really think that way. I just got all these shivers down the back of I always get that when I know we're onto something really
Yeah.
powerful. And animals are a huge part of people's lives. And at the moment I'm minding my grandpuppy here, and he's a very anxious boy, but whenever he comes home with me and he's at the farm, and he's a whole different person. It's almost like he lights up, and he's calm, and he's yeah. And so that's beautiful. So would you do, like you started, like you said, with reflexology, but then you use all the other modalities in the work that you do with animals as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. With distance animals, I'll usually connect, energetically. I'm not an animal communicator,
Right.
but I'll usually pick up emotions, sort of how they're feeling, and then I use muscle testing to sort of narrow in on what priority the animal has, which may be completely different
Yeah.
than what the owner has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had. Do we have time for a short little
Yes.
example? Okay,
Absolutely.
all right.
Absolutely.
So I had a client contact me, and she said that her dog had a lot of separation anxiety, and
Mm.
could I do anything? And I said, well, let's try, right? Can't make guarantees. So we had a couple of sessions, and the first session, It was not about separation anxiety. The dog did not want to work on those issues. The dog wanted to work on his food.
Wow.
and and it was, so I mean, she had told me that he had some health issues, and they had to feed him a low histamine diet.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise that just buggered up his life. And so that's what we worked on. And afterward, I did a little bit of research and found out that in people, if you have these sorts of allergy types that are affected by the histamine in foods, it causes anxiety,
Oh.
which was fascinating to me.
Mm.
And so I kind of do almost direct correlations between people and animals. If food can cause anxiety in people, I think it can cause anxiety in animals. So
100%.
yeah. And so she did change his food a little bit, and his anxiety went down like
Wow.
within a couple of days.
Wow, that's incredible.
So yeah. And it is just really fascinating because what the owner wants can be completely different from what the animal knows that he or she needs, right?
Yeah.
So it's just cool.
It's very cool. And it's the same, I guess, in humans when, what the brain wants is not necessarily what the soul wants. When you correlate when you're working with energy and you
Yeah.
might have for instance, a migraine problem. However, it's related to something completely opposite. It could be that the liver needs attention or the gall, and you find that out through working with the energy as a holistic, process, don't you?
Hmm.
So I find it fascinating, like, or you'll go to a chiropractor or an osteo for a pain in your neck, but your hip's out, right? So the correlation is, and you have to know, right? But yeah, and you wonder, oh, how did that work? It actually worked, right? It's fascinating to me, and we're actually
Me
essentially we're
too.
just working with energy, aren't we? Right? Shifting
Yes.
energy and stuck energy. And
Yeah.
yeah, I was listening to I won't go there because I'll probably go on a tangent. Let's continue. So now let's look at the human side of things and how you use your modalities for specifically overwhelm and anxiety and
Hmm.
all the things, all the emotions that we humans as humans experience. And if you're watching,
Yes.
please drop us a like. I can see a couple of people watching. Drop us a hello in the comments and any
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
Yes. And say where you're from. That would be cool too.
Yeah. Where are
Yeah.
you from?
Yeah. So most of my human clients come to me because they feel off balance. They feel like they're a basket case, right? Life sucks. Things just aren't going well. And again, right, it depends. Most of the time, I'll start with maybe their chakra system, their meridian system, see what we can do to rebalance the chakras, rebalance the energy that's flowing through their body. And of course, this all depends on what sort of their goals are
Yep.
and how they want to feel when they leave my clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And eh, and then it kind of depends. So sometimes it'll be that, yeah, we have to work with specific emotions. We have to release them. We have to go back to a time when, they may have experienced some kind of trauma
Mm.
and sort of walk through the process and release it that way. Um, then sometimes it's even ancestral work
Yeah.
where we clear out even further back than
Mm.
just us, right?
Yes.
And and so it depends. And it really depends on the client, because I have some clients who come to me who are like a basket case, right? And they'll just come for reflexology on their feet.
Yeah.
And they leave and they feel so much better, like every part of them. Because
Mm-hmm.
although in reflexology we're working points in the feet,
Mm.
it's still an energetic modality also.
Mm.
So it's fun finding out what a client likes, what works for them,
Yeah.
and what works for them on that day, because it's not the same tool every time. And that's why I'm a huge proponent on giving my clients like as many tools as possible, because you may like one or two and they work for you most of the time, but there are times when they're not going to work and you need to pull another one.
Pull another one, exactly. So having those tools in your pack kit and strategies to use in certain situations or certain emotions or how you're feeling that day, I think is really, really important. And particularly when we're working with energy and trauma, right? That's huge. We really need to be kind and gentle, don't we, to go sometimes to even get to places that we need to go, and that comes with a lot of trusting ourselves, but also trusting the person that you're working with. So
Yeah.
I love that. And the reflexology, it was one of my very first mini courses I did like 40 years ago in a little clinic up the road. And I'm wondering, it's probably progressed so much more these days, but could you use that modality? Like you can use it on yourself, but can you talk people through it as on a distance wise when you're like, or is it something that you feel like it needs to be specifically touch? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we're taught that it has to be specifically touch because
Okay.
it is a touch modality. It's like similar to massage.
Yeah.
You know, I can certainly teach points on the hands, and I can do that a little bit later. That will help our adrenal system, um, you know,
Yeah.
lower anxiety a little bit. But as a practice,
Specifically. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think that the beauty of that is like when you say having different tools, it's like feeling into what you like. When you get to know yourself well, you can feel into what you specifically need. And like I say to my clients, you need to find what it is you need and go get that extra support, whether it be reflexology, massage, kinesiology, whatever, and take those steps to go body work, right? Not just massage, but full body work where you're connecting the mind and the body and working
Yes.
through. Yeah. So
Yes.
that's really cool. Okay. What else? Let's talk about the quantum touch, maybe. Is that similar?
Mhm.
Yes.
Quantum touch is similar to Reiki
Yep.
or Rahani, celestial healing. Yes, I know there are differences in each energetic healing modality, but ultimately they're all they all come from the same place.
Okay.
And that's my perspective, and I don't want to offend any, Reiki masters or
No.
anyone else. Healing touch has awesome modalities and techniques, but it's energetically based. I guess
Right.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And I like quantum touch for me because it's really quite powerful. And one of the cool things about it is I don't need to know what trauma you went through.
Yeah.
I don't need to know your story.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a time and place when we need to talk about our stories and, the specifics of what happened to us.
Mm-hmm.
But if we talk about it too much, it just keeps it stuck in us, because
Yes.
energy follows thought.
Yes.
And so I like quantum touch, and I do believe other modalities do this, but I don't need to know any specifics. I
Mm-hmm.
just need to offer up the energies and let them do their thing,
Do the work.
because
Mm.
your higher purpose, your soul, the universe knows what you need,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
And I can't digest the food you just ate. I can't heal you from that perspective, right?
Mm. Mm.
We create a space where that can occur.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Let the energy do the work because it knows. And that comes into that piece about allowing and trusting too, isn't it? That,
Yes.
yeah.
So important.
Yeah, so important.
Yeah.
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 And and yeah, what else? I'm so curious. Do you want to talk a little bit about the math work, or sorry, heart
Heart
math,
math?
or do you want to go into some specific tools? It's totally up to you where you're feeling. What else did you want to share about some of the modalities today that people could choose as an option for them?
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about heart math, and then I can go through some of the tips and techniques
Yep,
that we'll try
yep,
and see how it feels and see what you think of, and then you can take them home and use them, so to
yep.
speak. So, okay.
Fantastic. Yep,
So heart math is scientifically based, peer-based research. It's been around for like well over 30 years. And okay, I fully admit I'm not scientifically minded, but when our brain, our heart, and our nervous system are not in a nice coherent pattern, and they can measure this pattern, okay, when we're not in that coherent pattern, our nervous system is just all jangled, right?
mm,
And you can see it on a graph. So when we experience a stressful event, lots of hormones and chemicals get released, our fight or flight instinct sort of kicks in, and we need those, right?
yeah,
We need those to survive.
yeah,
But when we're chronically stressed, chronically anxious, chronically overwhelmed, and our nervous system is in this jangled state like all the time,
mm,
that is not good. Like
no,
that leads to heart diseases, digestive issues, immune system issues, reproductive issues. It makes us age faster. It
mm,
inhibits our ability to learn and focus and keep our memories. I think I saw one study that said that it actually shrinks the front of our brain.
mm.
Those things are not good for us.
No way. Yeah.
So they teach that the best way to manage anxiety and overwhelm is in the moment.
Mm,
And so they have developed a number of really cool, simple, easy to use tools. And I'll share one with you just in a little bit. But it helps us, our nervous system, to go from that jangled state back to a nice sort of even state. And the problem can be is when we do experience those stressful events, cortisol is one of those hormones that gets released,
mm,
and it stays in our system for hours. And especially for
mm.
women, right, that impacts weight gain and like all host of other things.
Yeah.
But then in those 6 hours, we've been experiencing more stressful events.
Yeah. So they're
So
all
we live that way.
we live in that. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes normal. This state of anxiety and overwhelm that we live in is normal. And when it decreases, our system goes, crap, what's going on? This doesn't feel weird. Like this isn't right.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting what chronic anxiety and overwhelm does to us.
Yeah. It's almost you're
Yeah,
living it. It becomes the norm, but it's not. And when
it's
you
not.
experience the opposite, it's foreign and the brain like freaks out a little bit, doesn't it? It's like,
It
what's
does.
it's not me. Who's this? And it takes a little bit of really gently, massaging it into a new way of being because you have to keep practicing the
Yeah.
tools, the strategies. Yeah, so that's so that it becomes a normal,
Hmm.
a new way of being. Yes,
Yeah.
so I love
Yeah.
that. And I think the Heart Math has a specific tool that you can wear too, don't they? Do they
They
have a
do have
that
some
measures?
amazing technology. They have an app on your phone. You can get a little thing that clips onto your ear,
Mm-hmm.
and it measures what they call the heart rate variability.
Yeah.
And that's like the connection between your brain, your heart, your nervous system.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
super
when you
cool.
practice it with the app,
Yeah.
then it actually measures all that and tells you where you are.
Right.
Yes. And then when you practice the techniques, then you get better at managing and eliminating the effects of that chaos in your nervous system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also have a free 6-video series called the Heart Math Experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I highly recommend anybody just to go watch the videos, start using the tools,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
really helps.
Really helps. And we can
Yeah.
drop the links in later for people to go find that if you like,
Mhm.
as well as your links too to find you. So,
Yes.
yeah, something popped into my brain then when you
Okay.
were talking about that, and then it's sort of, how that happens.
Yes.
Um, yeah, but it's really fascinating, and it's good to measure and use those. They're simple too, aren't they? And
Yes.
and
Yeah, they
and
really
free
are.
and free,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So why not? Why not? So if you have any questions about that, let us know. And we can yeah, definitely get back to you. It's fascinating how, because we're all energy essentially. So that's what I was going to say. The brain,
Okay.
when we even just to think about past experiences that are running you without you even consciously knowing that they're doing it, because our mind is working overtime all the time. And so simple tools like this can really help to relax you so you can get to the root of
Mhm.
what's you can be relaxed enough to get to the point, the
Yeah.
root, the cause, and then work with a therapist or somebody that's
Yeah.
experienced to really transform what's going on and have those shifts happen. Not shifts happen, shifts happen. Yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So should we jump into some specific uh
Mhm.
strategy tools? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So in heart math, they talk about renewing emotions and depleting emotions. And
Mm-hmm.
so the depleting emotions are, anxiety, fear, anger, frustration, impatience, those kinds of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And the renewing emotions are gratitude, love, compassion, peace,
Mm.
joy, love, even being out in nature and being, awestruck by the wonder of, the color of the trees, for example, right? So if everyone who's watching this wants to just think about a situation that causes you some anxiety, some stress, on a scale of 1 to 10, don't pick a 10, but maybe a 6. Okay, this is for demonstration
Question
purposes.
only.
Okay, yes.
Yep.
And just kind of put a number on it. And then what I'd like you to do is
Mm.
just keep your eyes open. Okay, slow your breathing down just a little bit and breathe just a little bit deeper. And then focus your attention on the area of your heart. And imagine that your breath is flowing in and out of your heart area. Just at your own pace, just a little deeper, a little slower. You'd ideally want to do this for, 2 or 3 minutes. We're not going to take that time for dead air space. But now, if you can remember a time when you felt gratitude, peace, compassion,
Mm.
appreciation, and really try to re-experience that feeling, not just remember it, but feel it. As you continue to breathe in and out of your heart area, really feel that feeling.
Mm.
And then think about that situation that caused you some anxiety or stress, and has that number changed a bit?
Absolutely, it has.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's so powerful.
it is.
And
And
mm,
because you do it with your eyes open, you
mm,
can do it when you're driving. You can do it when you're talking to someone,
mm, mm,
right?
yeah,
So it stops that energy drain, and it shifts your emotional perspective.
yeah, yeah. I had my hand on my heart because I felt that that's how I felt to connect, to breathe through the heart. But also, yeah, I can see how with practice, you could just go straight in. And yeah, when you talked about energy, leaking energy, right? Felt to me like it was maybe patching up those energy leaks a little bit, like so you're more contained. Do you know
Mhm.
does that make sense?
It
More
does.
contained
Yes.
rather than that thought that would normally cause me a little bit of angst. I felt like I was contained in my body, in myself, and in my emotional feeling that it didn't affect me. It's like, oh yeah, it was just a thought. That thing was
Yes.
just a thought. So that's a fascinating example and beautiful demonstration of how we can use the tools of heart math and breath.
Mhm.
Is
Mhm.
it beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful. Thank you, Alison. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I love that one.
Oh, that was,
It's
yeah,
and now if you can practice it 1 or 2 times a day for a couple of minutes,
yeah.
it keeps your nervous system a little bit more balanced, and then your system kind of gets used to it. So when you really need it, it's easier to get there, right?
Yeah, it's more
Um,
automated.
yeah, yeah,
It's it's like the place you go, okay, all right, I'm feeling a little bit this. Okay, I'm going to go there. Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
And that can only happen with consistency and practice, right?
yeah,
Like retraining the nervous system. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah,
Wow.
yes.
Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else you wanted to share today?
Oh, I have lots.
You have
So
lots. We could
yes.
be here all day then.
Yeah,
Or
I
for
know.
you all
I'll just
night.
share. I'll just share maybe two more. We'll see.
Okay, cool. Okay.
All right. So most of us experience really tight neck muscles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly from an anxiety perspective, we tend to, bring our shoulders up into our neck, and then we're like this all the time. I mean, you can
Mm-hmm.
even hear my voice change.
Yes.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to explain it first, because when I demonstrate it, I have to take my headphones off.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to check our range of motion. Okay, so just look left and right and just notice how far you can go
Mm-hmm.
and where the tension might be. You might feel some pulling,
Ooh.
and no judgment, just
No.
notice how you feel.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
On the
and then
left
what we're
one.
going to do, yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Then what we'll do is we're going to really firmly massage our ears for about 30 seconds. And we're going to massage the whole ear. We're going to unfurl the cartilage, pull the ears away. We want them to be a little red and warm,
Mm-hmm.
but to your comfort level. Okay, so this is not about causing you pain. All
Yeah.
right.
Or
So I'm
beating
going to,
yourself up.
exactly, yes. So I'm going to take my headphones off and you can follow along with me. Okay.
Okay.
So that's close to 30 seconds.
Yep.
And then recheck your range of motion.
Oh, wow. Wow. Way further.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Are they because of
Yeah.
the pressure points in our ear?
I think that from a reflexology perspective, there is something to that for sure,
Mm-hmm.
from an acupuncture perspective, but in specialized kinesiology and touch for health, there seems to be like a direct correlation for relaxing joints.
Wow.
Yeah. And the bonus for this is because our ears sort of act as antenna
Mm-hmm.
to bring in information,
Mm.
then this can also help us hear and process information, right?
Wow.
We all know those times when someone's talking to us and we kind of hear what they're saying, but it's not landing in our brain, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this can help a little bit too with that.
I was just thinking about my partner when he's trying to talk to me when I'm in the middle of doing something and I'm like, yep, yep, yep. And he has no idea that I'm not even really. And then I ask him later, what was that conversation we were having? Like, yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah. So that was that's incredible. So how often could like and when would you use it and how often? And
I use it.
specifically for what?
Mhm. So I use it mainly for me, for my neck,
Yeah.
because I have a very tight neck
Yeah.
and tight muscles, and I am either sitting at my computer or I'm working with clients where I'm in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
So everything kind of just contracts, and
Yes.
I'm not very good about stretching. So this is a quick way,
Yeah.
and it's pretty easy once you become a little bit more aware of your body, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That you start to notice, oh, my shoulders are in my ears,
Yeah.
right? Or this just isn't feeling very fluid.
Yeah.
So you can do it a couple times a day.
Couple of times a day. I used to wake up every morning with a stiff neck and energy gets stuck, like unreleased energy or feelings, emotions can get stuck in parts of your body. Mine used to be held right at the base of my neck. I go to bed okay, and then I woke up. So things were obviously moving around during the night. My brain was probably processing a lot of stuff, and thankfully, since working with frequency, that was the first thing I noticed. Wow, my neck. But I still noticed when I did the exercise with you, we still carry it
Yeah.
all the time. So I think it comes back to being conscious of all these little tools that we've got up our sleeve that we could use for free every single day to support us
Yes.
in calming down our nervous system and releasing out whatever's stuck in your body. And that's
Mhm.
I guess that's the essence of it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely. And
incredible. I love it.
yeah, so I have another one. It's from reflexology.
Yep.
So we're going to work with the spine. All right. We're going to do it on the hands.
Hmm.
And it helps with, when our back gets tight and a little constricted muscularly, this can help.
Yep.
But it also works energetically, right? Because as you said, we are
Mm.
energetic beings
Yeah.
before we're physical. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
so what you can do with your thumb, you can start down here and you want to be sort of like on that bone.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you want to just kind of inch your way up all the way up to the thumb tip.
All the way. Okay.
Yeah, all the way. And so you can use a thumb, you can use the finger, you can use a couple of fingers.
Oh, yeah.
You just kind of want to go all the way up.
Yeah.
And then you just switch hands and
Do the other side.
do the other side.
Okay.
And if you find a spot that's a little tender,
Yeah.
you can back off the pressure a bit, but you still want to work it. So this point is tender for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna
Give it a bit of a.
bit of a
Yeah.
rub. And usually if it's energetic, if it's muscular in your back,
Yeah.
then that pain will discomfort will decrease a bit. and mine did.
Oh,
Like if you've got an injury there, that's going to hurt, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah. And
But
so
it's
you can do this all the way up.
all
So
the way up.
this part is, it relates to your spine.
Okay.
Okay. And on your foot,
Ooh,
the inside, I know, the
yeah,
inside
put up on the
all along
table.
here.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
know. Right?
yeah,
So you can also, if you're flexible enough, right?
yeah.
You just work along the bone, the arch, all the way
Uh-huh.
up
Yeah.
there. So you can do it on your foot
On
also.
your foot on the inside along
Inside.
the arch.
Yeah,
Okay. And
that
that does the
bone,
same, is that the same area, the
the
back
spine. Yeah,
spine? Sorry.
yeah.
I did notice when you mentioned that, not this side, but this side was a little tender.
Mhm.
So that's indicating that there's a bit something that I maybe releasing in the back, the spine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
It can for sure.
And would you just keep rubbing that till it stops being a little bit, or does it take time to sort of
It
release?
my go-to answer is pretty much it depends.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
If after, 5-10 seconds, the pain is not going away or it's getting worse, just
yeah.
move on,
Okay.
right? Maybe go back to it an hour later.
Yeah,
Again, if there's an injury in this joint or this muscle,
yeah,
rubbing it like this may not be the best thing. So you don't want to be working at it for 2 or 3 minutes,
yeah.
right?
Go to the foot.
Usually, exactly,
Yeah,
yes. But if it's more energetic based,
yeah,
then usually the discomfort will go away, or it will at least decrease a little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, actually, I've
And
noticed
then,
it decreased. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yeah, mine's gone now on this side.
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. So good to know. It's good to know what to pay attention to, really.
Mhm.
So you know whether it's energetic or physical, or and what you need to do next. And they're all guiding you to just take action into where you need to go to release the physical, right? You might need to go see a chiropractor or something, or a cranial therapy, whatever that, all the
Yeah.
things, so much out there.
All of those.
And
Yeah.
tuning in to your body and go, oh, what do I need, right? And let
Mhm.
that be guided by that. That's so amazing. Thank you so much. You've been so
You're
generous with
welcome.
your time. I've just realized we've gone way over, but I hope that's okay. How late is it there for you now?
It's just before 9 o'clock, so it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
9 o'clock at night. Yeah. So you're winding down for the day. Thank you. Oh, any last words of wisdom before we close today's session?
Yes, be kind to yourself,
No.
right? That is, we beat ourselves up so much for what we should or shouldn't do.
Mm,
And we have thousands of thoughts that just go on all day, every day. We don't even hear them, but most of them are negative. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And we're all human. We all make mistakes. No one is perfect.
Yeah.
And most of the time, things you can do a do-over.
Yeah.
And if not, then you're on another path, and that's okay. It's all just learning experiences.
Absolutely. 100%. I love that beautiful pearls of wisdom there. So if anyone's watching the replay and you want to know more, or if you want to reach out to Alice and she's in the group, she's going to drop some links down in the chat after our session, and you'll find her there, and also the heart math and all the things we talked about. And we're really excited that you could share so much of 3 modalities today, which are going to be useful for people, in overwhelm and anxiety. So thank you very, very much. I really am appreciative of your time, your energy,
Thank
and
you.
your wisdom. And we will keep connected.
Yes.
And reach out if you feel that you could use Alison to support you in any way. There's so many of us in the
Be
world
great.
doing great work. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye,
All
everyone.
right.
Now I've got to
Bye.
work out how to stop streaming. There we go.